Hello and welcome to the lab on VNETS with PowerShell. In this lab, we will create the same network structure that we built previously on our lecture on Azure VNETS, but this time we'll be using PowerShell. The reason for taking PowerShell along is that for larger deployments, doing everything from the portal interface is often not feasible, as doing so might take up a lot of time, and most importantly, it can often lead to inconsistency in the infrastructure. So the advantage of using PowerShell or any other scripting language for provisioning infrastructure is that we can have consistency across our cloud infrastructure. We can carefully draft commands for provisioning resources and then save them as a script. So the next time when we need to provision a similar infrastructure, all we need is to make changes in the script as per our requirement, and the required resources are created with minimal time and effort. So let's just dive into it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to launch our PowerShell module. So simply just press your window button and type in PowerShell, and it's best to run it as an administrator. So I'll click on it and we can see our PowerShell module has been loaded. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to connect my PowerShell with my Azure account. So the command for that would be connect-az account. Okay, so you can just press tab, and if the AZ module has been properly installed on your PowerShell, it will automatically complete the command. So press enter. And here I'm supposed to provide my login credentials. Okay, so as I can see, my ID is right over there. So I'll click on it. Now I just need to provide my password. Click on sign in. And as we can see, I have been successfully logged into my Azure account. Okay, next we are going to create a new virtual network in our subscription. But before we do that, let's just go ahead and verify if we have any previously configured virtual networks in our subscription. So the command for that would be get az virtual network. And if I press enter, it will list down all the virtual networks. Okay, so since we do not have any virtual network configured previously in our subscription, that's why I'm not getting any results. So let's just go ahead and create a new virtual network. Okay, so the command for that is $variable. Now actually I want to store the result of that command in this variable, so that's why I'm using this syntax. Okay, and the reason I'm using this variables, the reason will be clear in a minute. Okay, so let's just focus on the command for now, and the command is new hyphen az virtual network. Okay, now this command also asks for some parameters like name of the virtual network, resource group name, location, and the address prefix. Okay, so let's provide these parameters one by one. Hyphen name, and the name of the subnet of the VNet would be, let's say, VNet1. The next parameter is resource group name, and the resource group name is Azure Learning. Okay, so the next parameter is location, and the location is, let's say, East US. And the last parameter is address prefix. So the address prefix I'm choosing for this network, just like in our previous lab, is 192.168.0.0/24. Okay, so if everything is correct, I will just press enter and see what happens. Now apparently it will take a while to create this virtual network, so I'll pause the video for now and get back to you once it's done. So it looks like our virtual network has been created without any issues. So if you want to verify that, let's just go back to the same command, which was get az virtual network. So if I press enter, this time I can see the name of the VNet and all the configurations. Okay, so the address space that I provided for this VNet1 is 192.168.0.0. okay, so the next thing that we want to do is to add a subnet within this virtual network, okay, that we just created. Okay, so next we are going to add a subnet within this virtual network. So let's just once again save the result of this new command in our variable. Let's just call it SN1, which stands for subnet1. And then the command for actually creating a new subnet is add az virtual network, and then subnet configuration. So this is the command. Okay, Now, just like our previous commands, this command will also require some parameters. So the first parameter would be name of the subnet. Let's just call it subnet1. And the second parameter is the virtual network. This is actually the virtual network that this subnet is going to reside in. Okay, so I have to provide the virtual network. Now, the value for this virtual network, I can simply pass in this variable, okay, in which I stored the properties of the new virtual network that I created. So I hope now the reason is clear why we are storing the results of some commands in a variable. Okay, so I will just type in $variable, okay, and then lastly I would provide the address prefix for this new subnet that I'm creating right now. So the address prefix for this new subnet would be, let's say, 192.168.0.0/25. And I hope you know at this point why I'm putting /24 or 25 in this CIDR notation. Okay, if you don't know, you can go back to the previous lecture and find out why I'm doing this. So let's just press enter, and it looks like our subnet has been created successfully. So before we proceed, the best thing would be to verify the configuration settings for the subnet that we just created. So the command for that is get az virtual network subnet configuration. Okay, and then the name of the subnet, which is subnet1, and then the virtual network in which that subnet resides. So that is, again, I can just pass the variable. I do not have to type the whole properties of the virtual network. We have all those properties embedded in this variable, so I just type in the variable name and then press enter. And here we can see the address prefix for this new subnet and the name of the subnet, which is subnet1. Okay, so this assures me that the subnet has been created successfully. Okay, so the last thing that I need to do before this subnet is actually visible within the VNet in the interface, the last thing that I need to do for that is to associate this subnet with the virtual network. Okay, so the command for that would be sn1, which is the name of this new subnet, which is the variable in which I store the information about this subnet, and then set az virtual network. Now if I press enter, I'm presented with all this configuration, the list of this big configuration. Okay, so if I want to verify it, I can verify it from the portal. So let's just go to the portal and see what configuration we have made in our virtual network. Okay, so I'll go to the portal and then go to the resource group, and then Azure Learning, this is the resource group in which I had created my virtual network. Click on my VNet1 and then click on this section which says subnets, and here I can see that the subnet1 has been created, and the address prefix for the subnet1 is once again the same which we provided from the PowerShell. Okay, so that's how easy it is to create virtual network and provide subnets within the virtual network using PowerShell. So once again, using the same command, let's just create the second subnet, $sn2 equals to add az virtual network subnet configuration, and then the name of the subnet, which is, let's say, subnet2 this time, and then the virtual network in which this second subnet would reside in, and then the variable of that virtual network in which all the properties of the virtual network are saved, and then the address prefix for this new subnet. So let's just say this time it's 192.168.0.0 / no, sorry, not 0.0. This time it should be 0.128 because this is the second subnet now. Okay, and the CIDR notation /25, and then press enter. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is to once again associate the second subnet with the virtual network. So the command for that would be into this sign and then set AZ virtual network. Give it a moment. Now we can go back to our VNet. Let's just get back to it from the scratch. Go to the resource group. Go to the resource group Azure Learning. Go to the VNet once again, and then go to the subnets once again. And this time I can see the subnet 2 has been created as well. So yes guys, this was how easy it is to create VNets and also provide subnets using PowerShell within the VNets. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.